Hey you guys, what's up? How's it going? Today's video is sponsored by the Yorkshire Referee Society. I'm out reffing some kids very shortly, but first I want to have a bit of fun with some checkmates. Okay, chess.com lets you save games when you finish them in your library, and you can create different categories, and I've got one for best checkmates. So I thought I'd just raid that and take you guys through. I think I've got 28 really fun, interesting checkmates here, but I think it's also good to treat this like a puzzle as well, or a set of puzzles, to try and hone your ability to spot these checkmate opportunities, because some of these are not obvious at all, and some of these are just absolutely beautiful. So we're going to race through them. Feel free to pause at any point. These are all real games that I've played, and pause and see if you can spot, for example, a forced mate opportunity, or what would you play in this situation. So we're going to start off. We're not going to talk about the ratings or the time controls or anything like that. Okay, so black plays a knight here, apparently offering up the knight for free. So grabs a pawn. Okay, simple checkmate here. Queen takes b1. All right, there you go. And we're just going to move on through. Okay, so black here has given check, and the king now moves to here, and we have mate in 1. Feel free to pause at any time. Okay, now this is what is called a dovetail mate. Okay, so it's like a dovetail joint where you have a bit of wood that goes into like a corner, and it kind of fits like this. So the queen is guarding these squares and these, right? So all of the only two possible escape squares for the king are occupied by his own pieces, right? So that's a dovetail mate. Very important to look out for that one. Great pattern. Okay, and here, okay, so I've just played my bishop out to here, getting ready to castle. Okay, black plays knight to e7. Okay, and what's the pattern? What are we looking for? Okay, now Budapest Gambit players should know this one off by heart. There's also a very famous kind of checkmate trap, whose name I can't remember right now, but it is a classic and beautiful smothered mate. Knight to f6, king has no squares to go to, beautiful smothered mate. Okay, and here we are. This has come from the Pitt's defense. Black plays pawn to g6, okay, and this is actually like a kind of a forced sequence. Okay, so think what you would play as white. Okay, so this is actually Wasp 79. So this isn't my game. I didn't play this one. Okay, this is Wasp playing this one, and captures on g6. Black takes the rook, right, and attacks the king. So this is a skewer. The king has to move out of the way, and then black says, "Thank you very much. I shall have that queen." And this is just lovely. What's the next move that wins the game? G takes f7, checkmate. And this is a smothered mate by a pawn. Check it out. That's absolutely gorgeous. You know, that gives you a warm and rosy glow all over. Right, next up. Okay, and this is one from the Jalalabad variation of the Sicilian. I've played that a few times. Okay, so I play knight back to e7, okay, and the next move wins the game. White to play and win. Knight takes f6, right? It's an unprotected square, and it's like a semi-smothered mate, because the knight is guarding also the only escape square. Beautiful finish from somebody rated 200 points lower. That's great. Okay, now this is an interesting one. Okay. So white has just played here, okay? Black plays the bishop out. You can see it, we've seen a few already. Knight, f7, again, smothered mate, this time in the corner, okay? Always keep your eyes open for these. Next up, okay, Obviously, black here is in an absolute world of pain. In fact, this is a game I played today. This is what sparked the whole idea, right? Black plays a pawn forward. Okay. Now white to play and win. Okay, so the winning move is simply pawn to b3. Check, right? The bishop is now defending the knight, all right? And the knight's defending the pawn, and the king has nowhere to go. Alrighty, next up. Right, so black checks the white king. King captures. Same pattern as we've seen before. Queen, b4, and what's that called? Dovetail mate, right? So this is what you're looking for, okay? These two pieces, any material of the king's own colour, and he's got nowhere to go. Nowhere to run to, baby. Right, who's going to win here? So bishop comes out to f3, okay? Now it's white to play and win. How quickly can you get it? Okay. Now it's a lot easier if you can colour in the squares when you're actually playing. Okay, the winning move, pawn to d5. Okay, so the king can't go here because of the rook. Can't take the knight because of the rook. The knight's covering this square, and look at this bishop. So everything's covered, and the king is gone. Next up for your viewing pleasure. Okay, black plays knight to here. Okay, white to play and win. Okay, it's very simple. Rook f7, knight covers that, knight protects rook, bishop's got the angles, and it's all over, and black is left crying into his tea. Okay, here. Now, this one is really an example of the power of the bishop pair, right? This is we're on move 12 of the game, right? So on move 12, white plays bishop to b4, check, okay, blocks, takes, and it is checkmate, right? The bishops, when they are side by side, create this impenetrable beam of death, and the rook is guarding e8, right? Absolutely stunning, stunning finish. All right, next up, black plays rook here, okay, and the win is, all right? Now, the first thing that you might think is this, but that doesn't win because rook takes, and you've just lost your queen, okay? But knight to f6 is checkity mate. The queen is covering all the squares. All we had to do is give check, and it's all over. All right. Now, in this situation, black is up a whole rook, okay? So, and that's me. Ho ho. Right, and white pushes a pawn forward. Okay, and this is a forced mate sequence, okay? So, fairly obvious, rook takes pawn, king to here. Now, actually, I think I messed this one up because I think h5 here is an instant mate, is it not? Okay, so I did it this way, then with the pawn there, then the king moves forward, and then pawn forwards, but I do believe that this would have won. Yeah, so mistake on my part, but extra point to you if you saw it. Okay, this is good fun. Right, now, white has just played the knight here. Okay, and this is a forced sequence again. Bishop to d3 with check. Okay, so there's only, I think, what, 3 legal moves. We could have knight blocks, we could have queen takes but loses queen, or we can have king to here. Okay. And we have this. Now rook comes across giving check, king is forced there, and checkmate. That is a beauty, right? Again, we've got this bishop pair, right? Now they're not actually side by side, but they are on adjacent diagonals, and the power of the rooks, okay? Guys, we've got to, don't neglect developing your rooks and trying to get them into the center of the board, get them onto those, open files, always very powerful. All right, now here, white to win in a couple of moves. All right, So the first move is actually, bizarrely, knight to there, which seems to be giving up the knight, but no, it's defended by the bishop. All right. Bishop comes here, attacking the rook. White to play and win. Bishop f6. Nice one. King is trapped in the corner, but the knight here has just covered the only square, possible escape square. Right, now this one, in fact, you know what? This one we're going to see the whole game because it's 10 moves, right? Vienna game. Anderson defense, okay, which is the wayward queen line. So if the bishop comes out to c5, we go wayward queen. Knight comes out to defend the pawn. Bishop comes out c4, okay, and now we are obviously eyeing up f7, g6, and then what happens? Queen drops back to f3, okay, and we're having another stab at the same pawn. Queen comes out to defend, all right, and you should know the move here. Knight d5 is an absolute peach in the Vienna. I love this move, right? Queen takes, knight takes, bishop to here, pawn to here, knight out here, and you know, any time we should now be starting to get tuned into this. Any time you see a knight move in front of the king, you're starting to think, yeah, there may be, you know, smothering options. Of course, the king here has two squares to move to, right? But check, and white to win. Boom. Okay, the bishop has the dark square, the knight covers the light squares, and it's all over. And that's a 1400 losing in 10 moves. All right, again, we're going to see the whole game in this one because it's a beauty. In the Scandi, right? Takes. Okay, this again is not me. This is one that someone shared. This is Dummerkane and Gurman 2, right? And the queen comes out. Okay, knight c3, very, very common move. Hits the queen with tempo. Queen retreats. Okay, and out comes the bishop. Out comes the knight. Knight f3. Bishop outpinning the knight. Oh no, my queen moment. Okay, and if you're black, and if you're greedy guts, you go like this. But then if you're white, you go, haha. Up yours. Checkmate. Didn't even need the queen. In it. Beautiful. And that has to be a classic trap. Okay, right, got about 10 or so more. Let's keep going. White plays the rook across. Check. King to here. And what's the winning move? It's the stunning knight to e3. Okay, and this is a double check because white is in check by the knight and the rook. The knight is guarding this square here, and it's all over once again. Ah, do love me a nice checkmate. Okay, and here we have a lovely forced sequence, from white. Okay, so we have takes, and this is now forced. Okay, e takes f8 equals queen. Only one move. Boom. Right. So if you could see that sequence, full marks. Well done. Right, here's another one. This is actually this is a win for black. Okay, and this comes in 2 moves. Can you see it? It's a nice little puzzle. Okay, bishop g2, pretty obvious. Right, king g1, and then just to finish it off, knight comes in now to h3, the square that the bishop was on, and delivers mate. That's a really cute one, like that. Alrighty, next up. And this is a win for black, okay, in 2 moves. So I've got the black pieces here, and now I think for almost 2 minutes, okay, over my next move. What would you play here? Okay, and notice, you know, key features we've got. So the rook's just come up here, probably wanting to take out this pawn. Okay, so that's a very dangerous pawn. Okay, my first move is bishop g6, pinning this bishop onto the queen, right? But this bishop is effectively pinned, right? Okay, but unfortunately also the bishop is attacked twice. So white goes, I'd better do something about this. And then checkmate in there, and the king cannot escape here because of this bishop. Lovely one. Okay, next up, and this is black to win in 3. Okay, so white has just played here, attacking the queen. Okay, the queen cannot give check here because the knight can take. So what do you do as black? Check this out. Rook takes knight. What the hey? Pawn takes. And now it cannot be stopped, right? We've just taken out the defender of the key square f3. Okay, king moves, and well, there's 2 checkmates here. You know, you could put the queen in there, but even more stylish, the knight into there. So, you know, what's the pattern here? What are we looking for? Well, what we're looking for is, first of all, if the queen comes in here, I've forced mate. There, it's completely unstoppable. However, I can't get my queen to that square because of this fella. So we eliminate that fella. And it doesn't matter. You could use both rooks. Okay? You know, even if this guy was off the board, right? With the threat of a back rank, well, almost a threat if the queen moves, right? But, you know, even if this guy wasn't there, you take that out. Then queen can't go there. And, you know, pretty much whatever happens, you're going to get it. Okay, another half a dozen, and we will be done for the day. Right, so black here takes a rook. This is in 3 moves now, and white to win. Okay, so pretty much forced. And white has 2 ways to capture. Captures with the rook. Okay, black now plays queen c5. Looks perfectly sensible. Now, white now to win in 2. Queen here. All right. Now, if the king steps onto this diagonal, we have discovery ideas. Like this, you know, could win the rook perhaps. So where can the king actually go? Can't stay on this diagonal because of the queen, right? So can't go here or here because of the rook. So there's only 2 squares. In the game, the king goes here, and winning move, the gorgeous knight to e7. And again, it's a double check with the discovery, right? And this actually checkmate because the queen's got that diagonal, and it's all covered. Nice one. Alrighty, I love raiding the archives. We should do this more often. Okay, so black here, this is white to win in 2 moves. Black's just taken a free pawn, okay? And you might be thinking, this board, look, you know, we're just coming into the middle game. White hasn't even developed, right? Queen to here, okay? For some reason, I now move my knight back, and boom, okay? It's an opportunistic checkmate, but that's got a sting, right? What a blunder, okay? So knight here would have been absolutely fine. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Even taking out the knight would have been absolutely fine. In fact, yeah, no, that would be fine. All good. Dear, oh dear. And, you know, this is the thing. We always need to be on the lookout for mate in 1. On, like, literally every turn should be part of the mental checklist. Like, literally, do I have checkmate here? Or does my enemy have checkmate? Okay, last few. White's just retreated the rook here. Okay, so material looks equal, absolutely equal, and it's black to win in 2 moves. Okay, so black starts with the astonishing rook takes h4. And now can you see it? Okay, and actually, there's only 2 legal moves. You've got king retreat or king takes rook. Okay, I did the wrong thing, and I took the rook. Right, and now rook h8 is check and mate because the pawn is covering this escape square, right? And actually, the knight is covering this square. So lovely finish there. Lovely finish. 1 more. Well, we got 3 more. Let's go. So we've had an exchange of rooks, and black is going to win this one. So White's queen comes in, grabbing the pawn, right up in the black king's face. White is actually up 3 pawns at this point in time, but it is to no avail. Okay, so black to win in 2 moves, forced mate. Bishop h2 check. Right, the rook is guarding the f-file, so there's only one legal move here. And now to finish off, rook f1, bishop's defended by the queen, and it's all over. Tears of sadness and happiness. Okie dokie, right, black to win in 3. And this, again, is a thing of beauty. Okay, so white's just pushed a pawn forward. Okay, you are black, what do? We sack the rook. Rook takes h3 check. Okay, and I believe there is only one legal move here. Pawn must take, right? And now, okay, boom. Pawn to g2, check. And what can be done? There's only one legal move. King has to move to h2. And then, pawn takes f1 and promotes to a queen. Now this isn't a checkmate, but it's an unstoppable position now, because there's no way, I don't think, of preventing queen g1 on the next turn, whatever happens. And that is just gorgeous. Let's review that one, right? For black here, takes, forcing the g-pawn away, and then having a rook behind an advanced pawn, and it's instant death. All right, now, last one for the road. Let's take this one from the top, okay? So we have like a queen's gambit position. This is not a long game, right? I'm playing here with the black pieces, and I'm about to lose in the most painful way. So, interestingly, knights here looks a bit like Alekhine, doesn't it? It's a situation you can get into. Okay, well, how is this going to end in a stunning checkmate in about 5 more moves? Knight to here. Well, that wasn't a very good move, was it? There. And then, oh no, my queen. Oh no, my queen. And white's just lost his queen, and I'm thinking, I've already won. But oh no. Okay. White has other ideas. Checks me. I block. Okay. D takes. Queen to c7 now. Right, preventing the pawn from advancing. But the pawn doesn't have to advance that way, because it's got material. It can munch on here. And this is now white to win in 2. Takes the pawn with a discovered check, right? So always say, always make note of any potential discovered checks, discovered attacks. Okay, now what is possible here? I'm in check. I can either sacrifice my queen, which is not much use, or it's got to be king d8, and now find the checkmate. The checkmate is knight takes f7, and even without a queen, white pulls down my trousers and spanks me very hard on the bottom. Okay, so that was a hoot and a holler. Hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have, and I'll see you soon.